Hi guys. So today I'm going to be doing a book review for Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings, which is the first book in his Stormlight Archive series. Just a quick side note for those of you that are curious, I do have the UK editions, that's why they're broken up into part 1 and part 2 and why they look different than the American versions. If you guys are interested in getting these, you can find them at Book Depository. I'll have the link for them down below. Anyway, getting into the book review itself, Way of Kings is the first book, like I said, in a 10-book long series called the Stormlight Archive, and currently there are 2 out and the 3rd one is coming out in November. When I've talked about this book in the past in TBR videos or in wrap-up videos, I've had such a hard time being able to kind of summarize for you guys what the plot is and what it's about, because this is epic fantasy, which means there isn't really a set bad guy. There isn't this main, I would say even like a main plot. There's so many different plots because there's so many different characters and different character point of views. Just to give you guys some perspective, I have here, it says that there are a total of 18 characters that have points of view in the book, and there are a total of 75 chapters, a prelude, a prologue, an epilogue, an endnote, and 9 interludes. I know for a lot of people who are kind of daunted by adult fantasy, they are daunted because of things like that. They hear that and they think, oh my gosh, that's just too much. There's no way I can keep up. But honestly, it's not difficult to keep up whatsoever. Despite there being an incredibly high number of characters that end up having chapters with their own point of view, there really is, I would say, 4 main characters, and the story, I would say, circles around them. And those characters would be Dalinar and Adolin Kholin, Chillon, and Kaladin. In order to accurately portray what the book is about, I think it's necessary to talk about these 4 characters, and fortunately, Dalinar and Adolin are father and son, so their plot lines are very intertwined. Dalinar is a high prince of this kingdom known as Alethkar, and Adolin is his heir. The kingdom of Alethkar is ruled by a king and then a series of high princes, and Dalinar is one, and him and Adolin are working together to keep the other high princes unified, because currently there's a lot of tension between them and they could easily fall apart. Dalinar's brother Gavilar used to be the king but was assassinated, and that's kind of what gets the story started. When his brother was assassinated, there was this kind of air of disarray because the kingdom had only recently been unified and nobody knew if it was going to manage to stay together. For the past 6 years since Gavilar's assassination, something that has kept all the high princes together is something called the Vengeance Pact against the people that claimed responsibility for assassinating Gavilar. So they, in a weird way, are bonded together because of this war. The war is where we kind of get introduced to Kaladin, who is, I would say, out of all the main characters, like the main character. He is something called a bridgeman. The world building in this book is absolutely amazing, and something Brandon Sanderson does so well is enable you to envision what the location of the war looks like. It's a place called the Shattered Plains, which is kind of this canyon-esque area where there are a bunch of chasms that the soldiers need to cross whenever they go into battle, and that's where the bridgemen and Kaladin come into play, because they have to run ahead of all the soldiers carrying these bridges, and then they have to drop them. They run straight towards the enemy. They have all these arrows coming at them. They have no armor, no shields, and they often just get slaughtered. Kaladin then and all his men just face constant fear that they're going to be killed every time they have to go on a bridge run, and as a result, a lot of the men that he is surrounded by are kind of depressed, and Kaladin gets the motivation to try and train these men to be better at what they do, to try and give them hope so that maybe in the last few months or weeks of their lives, they at least can live them in a good light. While all those 3 characters are somewhat intertwined, way off in another city called Kharbranth is the character Chillon. When we first meet Chillon, it doesn't really seem like her plot intertwines very much with the other characters, but you find out that the woman that she wants to become a ward for is actually related to Dalinar. So that's kind of how they're intertwined, and Chillon's plot kind of just seems like she is this young girl studying to become a scholar. Because of the nature of Chillon's plot, it allows you to kind of organically become accustomed to a lot of this world. It is a massive world, there's so much to it, but this is a nice opportunity to feel like you can actually get acclimated to everything. A few other notable points of interest in this world is that there are things called shard blades and shard plate, which are like these mystical sets of armor and weapons. They're massive, they're almost impenetrable, and they kind of stem a lot of who is determined to be higher and who is determined to be lower throughout their society. Generally, people who have light eyes, who are known as the light eyes, are the ones that wield these shard blades and shard plate, whereas people who are dark eyes, if they are able to have one of these things, they can elevate to the light eyes status. Another really interesting element to the story are these things called Sprin, which are, the best way I can describe it, are kind of like fairies, and they come into existence based off of people's emotions. There are, of course, other really notable elements to the world building in these books, but something that I think I personally appreciate so much about Sanderson's writing is that there is this level of patience. He doesn't feel the need to throw everything out at you at once. There isn't this need to have everything jam-packed and action-packed right from the beginning. He allows things to develop. He allows the characters to develop. He allows the world to develop. And by the time you get to the end of the book, you just feel like you understand the world. You feel like you know the characters, and it makes you care so much more. It does, of course, make for a long story, but it's so worth it. I recently made a video with my top 5 favorite series, and Mistborn is on it because you guys know I absolutely love Mistborn. It's so good. But I will say the only reason that Stormlight Archive is not on that list is because I've only read the first one. I'm currently reading Words of Radiance, and I'm so excited for Oathbringer in November, but I know that unless something tragic happens and Brandon Sanderson goes crazy, that this is definitely gonna be up there on my new list of favorites. Anyway, I cannot say enough good things about Way of Kings. I know that it does take a while to get going. It feels like there are 4 different beginnings to this book because the prelude, and then the prologue, and then the chapter 1, which is a perspective that you never really see again, and it just takes a while to get going, but it's so worth it. It's so good, and I highly recommend you guys check it out. Anyway, if you guys have any questions about Way of Kings, please feel free to ask in the comment section down below, and if you love it as much as me and you want to geek out over it, we can do that too, because I love Brandon Sanderson. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and check out some of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.